DVRT system. We're still in Tokyo, Japan, and I'm fortunate enough to be joined by Travis Johnson, who's owner of Synergy here, the beautiful facility we're at, and Kineticos, which is definitely a cool website. If you're in Japan, you need to check it out. So Travis, we've been brainstorming a whole bunch of cool ideas. I love being able to get to pick your brain and your be able to watch Kari's brain about how to make training better. And we're talking about a lot of times the problems people have, knees, back, specifically shoulders. With the clean and press test, a lot of people are like, oh man, my shoulder, I'm having problems with shoulders. They don't realize what they're doing wrong. So what are some common mistakes people make when it comes to shoulders?
Well, I think obviously a lot of the big ones that most people are probably aware of, but they just don't necessarily want to dedicate the time to. I was kind of in that boat myself. General mobility overall. Obviously, you want your thoracic spine mobility. You want that mobility through your shoulder blades. You want those moving well and stabilizing at the same time. Those type of things I think are really critical to get ready for that clean and press with respect to your shoulders.
Now, you just said something really interesting because a lot of people they think of their shoulders, but don't think of their scapula. So tell us a little bit about why is that important? What will happen to your shoulder if it's not doing well?
Well, myself personally, what I experienced, as you know, when I was getting ready for the clean and press test way back, I couldn't even do one. I was like jacked up. And what I had to think about is how am I going to get myself moving a whole lot better in order to perform this. And the thing is with the scapula, myself personally, is that I actually didn't have a lot of retraction through there, if that makes sense. They didn't really pull back. They talk about scapula being one and be really stable, and that's true, but they also need to be mobile to a certain degree while they're being stable, if that kind of makes sense, right? So I couldn't really get back there really well and get enough clearance and then actually get enough upward rotation to get overhead real nice without jamming up my glenohumeral joint.
So that's one of those things when you're pressing overhead, you should be able to see your scapula actually move. And a lot of times people will put weight overhead and their scapula never moves, and that just destroys your shoulder. And now you were just talking about you're going to show us some drills with the TRX Face Trainer or DVRT Ultimate Sandbags. A lot of people, they'll do the YT drills, they'll do their external rotator drills, but you said these drills are somewhat better. What would make these drills better to do?
Well, in the sense of let me say right off, I'm not going to diss those exercises. They all have a place in the different circumstances and contexts that you're going to use all those exercises. What I found personally is that the more I could kind of integrate my whole body into what was going on, and the more I could, get the rest of my body to kind of feed into what I was trying to create in my upper back and specifically my shoulder blades, the better off I was. And specifically, if I could transfer out of an open chain environment and get more of a closed chain environment. So when I'm doing these type of IYTs, things like that, and even the face pull, which I'll show you in a second, then I'm doing a closed chain and I'm getting better co-contraction through the joint. I'm getting almost like a better kinesthetic sense. I really kind of felt where I was at better, and I was getting this better range of motion, better development through my upper back, through my shoulder blades, and it was integrating with the rest of my body because I was actively having to be up and brace myself and planking as I was doing these things. And
that's a big thing, we talk about DVRT all the time, how everything starts from the ground up, even your shoulders. A lot of people don't understand that when you're pressing or doing anything with the upper body, it's still coming from the ground up. So, what Travis and Kari are going to do in a moment is going to show you 3 awesome drills to do. And by using the whole body as one unit, you're going to learn how to build better functional movement and make your shoulders a lot better.
So I want to talk a little bit about shoulder stability in the context of how to develop that in a more integrated fashion. Now, obviously, if you have issues everyone's got a lot of issues with their shoulders, and they worry about doing stuff like going overhead for the clean and press test. And if you're thinking about trying to develop those, we actually want to try to think about doing it in more of an integrated fashion rather than just doing isolated shoulder drills. Now, isolated shoulder drills are great. They've been used in therapy and IT-wise and that type of thing. But I experienced myself personally dealing with my shoulders getting ready for the clean and press test that using a suspension trainer doing some of these activities was actually really helpful because A, I could integrate through my body a lot better, and B, having a closed chain type environment to do these shoulder exercises actually created better stability through the joint because I had just greater co-contraction because of the closed chain environment. So one of the interesting things about the suspension trainer that many people don't know is when Randy actually first developed it, for a long period of time, it actually had no handles. I'm talking about back when he was in the Navy SEALs before it became commercial. They just had straps, and they were just using their grip strength on there to pull themselves around and do these activities on the straps. So if you think about that and get outside of the box and think like you have to hold on the handles, you can actually use a suspension trainer to do a face pull. Now, a face pull is a great exercise, and I've used it for years using cable columns and that type of thing. But when I started doing the suspension trainer, I actually felt like I was getting a little bit more out of it, and I was feeling like I was developing a little bit better shoulder stability and better shoulder health, and it really carried over to what I was trying to do in the DVRT system as I was getting ready for my clean and press test. So I'm actually having my wife Kari here demonstrate a couple of these, and you can kind of see what I mean and how to set up for these. So we're not going to use the handles, as I said. Go ahead and grab the straps. Usually kind of grab somewhere in there. And she'll go ahead and set up in the classic on the face pull, the finish position, the end position here. And then, obviously, this one I'm talking about the integration. She has to have a solid plank through her whole body, basically all the way down to her ankles. Go ahead and drop back. And she's maintaining that as she's getting that both mobility and stability through her shoulder blades and through her glenoid humeral joint there in order to execute this movement. That's great. And you really want to, as someone's doing this, or if you're doing it yourself, you really want to think about actually really pulling those shoulder blades back and really getting that squeeze in your upper back there right at the end. Great job. Thank you. All right, so actually, after you've worked with the suspension trainer a little bit, you've worked on those face pulls, and you've gotten some of that sense of how your shoulder blades are moving and that stability there through your shoulder girdle, then we like to go ahead and keep that closed chain environment and take things down to the ground a little bit and do one of the classic DVRT drills, which is the lateral bag drag. So we want to do the lateral bag drag here, and when you're doing this, I mean, this is a tough exercise. Myself, I personally hate them. I'll be totally honest. I shake and tremble. I suck at these things, but they're really, really important. When I find exercise like that, I know that's what I really need to work on to get better. When we do these, it's so easy to just start ripping that bag across because we just want to get done with the darn exercise. But if you can actually slow things down a little bit and think about and feel the back of your shoulder in particular, right here, she's really feeling that. The same kind of area that she was feeling when she was doing the face pull with the suspension trainer, you can get a lot more out of the exercise. She's keeping that co-contraction here. She's developing a ton of stability here. There's not so much movement here through the shoulder girdle at this point. She's just really holding this together really, really solid here. Now she's getting a little bit of motion when she pulls the bag across. But she kind of gets both, developing that stability on one side, getting a little bit of stability with mobility on the other side as she works this drill back and forth. All right, so now we're actually going to start looking at Kari's back first to begin with, and we're going to have her do a couple presses, and we're trying to keep in mind these things that we just worked on before with the face pull and the suspension trainer with the lateral back drag. If you go ahead and press that up, we really want to see that motion through the scapula, but also a high degree of stability and strength here through the upper back. Okay, it's not just one thing, it's kind of a combination of the two. Go ahead and lower that once. And even when you're doing that lower, you really want to pull that in and have control and really feel that, just like you were feeling it when you're doing the face pull and you're feeling it when you're doing the lateral back drag. Can you try one more, please? Okay, really get that locked in. And then go ahead and pull that down. Now, if we look at it from the side, spin just a little bit, we'll see also, go ahead and press that up. Now, we're still maintaining that real active plank that we, again, we're using when we were doing the face pull on the suspension trainer and also when we were doing the lateral back drag. It's this integration thing. So if she would have just done, like, sat on a bench somewhere and just did some, like, you know, IYTs, that type of thing, it's okay, it's not bad. I'm not going to diss those exercises, but she's getting a lot more out of it through the other two exercises we do that's directly leading into her ability to press this overhead and keep really nice posture and just have a very nice press overall.